Nigel Farage has just lit a bonfire under one of Britain's most sacred cows, and the flames are spreading fast. His latest broadside against the BBC isn't just a political jab, it's a declaration of war. And if the numbers are anything to go by, he's not alone. A jaw-dropping poll has exposed what many suspected for years. 85% of Reform UK voters don't trust the BBC, not even a sliver. This isn't a casual complaint about bias or poor programming. According to Farage, it's a full-blown national security issue. That's not political theater. That's a five-alarm warning. When a national broadcaster loses the faith of nearly an entire political movement, something is cracked at the very core of the institution. Farage didn't hold back. Speaking with the fire of a man who knows his moment has come, he shredded the BBC in front of cameras, branding it a smug, woke behemoth that sneers at the very people whose taxes keep it alive. In his words, it's not just out of touch, it's actively hostile to ordinary Britons. Then came the kicker. A BBC presenter, live on air, dared to call Farage's speech inflammatory. The backlash was swift and brutal. Within hours, the broadcaster was issuing a stumbling apology, hoping to douse the flames. But the damage was already done. Too little, too late. The public saw it all. The sneer, the spin, the scramble. This isn't just about one bad segment or an overzealous anchor. It's about a pattern.
A rot.
A taxpayer-funded institution that wags its finger at Britain from an ivory tower in London, all while claiming to be the voice of the nation. The same BBC that shouts diversity from every rooftop, yet fills its newsrooms with polished Oxbridge grads who couldn't find Blackpool on a map without GPS. The same BBC that will bend over backward to appease fringe activists with niche demands, but won't even call Hamas a terrorist organization. They're more comfortable policing pronouns on children's cartoons than protecting kids from dangerous ideologies disguised as progressive education, and now they wonder why the trust is gone? Please. The writing's been on the wall for years. This isn't just about Reform UK voters. This is about millions of working-class Brits, white, black, old, young, who are sick to death of being lectured, patronized, and gaslit by a broadcaster that no longer speaks their language, literally and culturally. From grooming gangs being brushed under the rug to bizarre historical rewrites where Roman generals look like they stepped out of a BBC HR meeting, viewers have had enough. What do they get in return for their £159 license fee? Kids' shows that ask aliens for their pronouns. Historical dramas wedged with Brexit punchlines that feel like the writers were more interested in scoring points than telling stories. This isn't subtle. It's not clever. It's insulting. The kind of smug content cooked up in Soho wine bars by people who think living in Clapham qualifies them to speak for the entire UK. Want a job at the BBC? Good luck if you're from Newcastle or Wolverhampton. Unless you've got a postcode in London, rich parents, and can drop phrases like lived experience and decolonize in a sentence, don't even bother.
The door's closed.
The elevator's broken. The ladder's been pulled up. Working-class kids need not apply. This isn't a national broadcaster anymore. It's a national embarrassment. And Farage knows it. Reform voters know it. Even the BBC, in its panicked, awkward apologies and tokenistic diversity panels, seems to know it. They're scrambling now, rushing out balanced specials, issuing hollow apologies, doing everything short of asking the public what they actually want. Because they already know the answer. Accountability. The BBC doesn't want to reflect the nation. It wants to reshape it. It doesn't inform, it indoctrinates. Every debate, every news report, every children's show is filtered through a narrow moral lens that shuts out dissent and shames anyone who dares push back. Question immigration policy? You're a xenophobe. Worried about gender ideology in schools? You're a transphobe. Wondering where your tax money goes? You're just another angry dinosaur clinging to the past. Well, Farage has ripped the curtain wide open. Millions of Brits are done playing nice. Done pretending the emperor has clothes. The solution? Shut it down. Scrap the license fee. Let the BBC compete like any other media outlet. If it's really the treasured national voice it claims to be, it'll survive on its own merits. But deep down, even the Beeb knows that's not going to happen. Because in the age of smartphones and live streams, glossy propaganda doesn't cut it anymore. The illusion is gone. The trust is dead. And there's no patching up a corpse. Meanwhile, across the pond, a completely different picture is unfolding. While Britain fumbles with apologies and PR stunts, America is watching Donald Trump roll in military convoys to restore order on the streets of Los Angeles. Far-left mobs are blocking deportation buses. Activists are slashing tires to protect illegal migrants. The chaos is explosive. But Trump? He's doing exactly what his voters asked for, restoring law and order, closing the border, taking control. And who do we have leading the UK in this storm? Sir Keir Starmer, a man so allergic to action he can't even get one illegal migrant on a plane. While Trump is deploying Marines, Starmer is dodging questions and fumbling through live interviews. When challenged, he freezes like a rabbit in the headlights, exposed for having no answers and even less backbone. Earlier this week, Britain was blindsided by the revelation that illegal immigration is costing taxpayers £4.7 billion annually. To put that in perspective, that's every single tax penny collected from a city the size of Manchester, gone. Flushed into a system that houses illegal migrants in hotels while veterans sleep rough and pensioners shiver in unheated flats. How did this happen? How did we let it get this far? When asked to explain it, Starmer looked like he'd never heard the number before. A reporter, fed up with the evasions, tore into him live on air. It was brutal.
It was deserved.
Because this isn't just bad policy, it's humiliation on an international scale. While Trump stands firm against the tide of chaos, Britain's leadership crumbles under the weight of its own cowardice, and the public. They're done waiting for change. They want results. They want accountability. They want truth. Whether it's the bloated farce of the BBC or the shambles of Labour's immigration policy, the message is the same. No more lectures. No more gaslighting. No more finger-pointing from people who live behind gates, take taxis to the studio, and haven't had to worry about a utility bill in years. Britain is standing at a crossroads. On one side, reform, reality, and the grit to confront the broken machinery. On the other, elite spin, media smirks, and the same old empty slogans. The country is waking up. The reckoning has started. And no amount of PR gloss from the BBC or awkward evasions from Starmer will stop what's coming.